Today on True Stories, we are discussing beauty, skincare, popular trends, and lots more with the gorgeous Dr. Hasia. She's the CEO and founder of Doctor's Dose, a skincare line. Plus, she owns a sophisticated aesthetic clinic called Wowati. She is British, based out of Dubai, UK-trained American both certified skin and aesthetics doctor, popularly featured on Vogue, GQ, Tatler, and the list goes on. Dr. Hasia, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm even more excited to know your story.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
So tell me firstly, what does Wowati mean, and what does it mean to you?
So Wowati is Italian. It means being passionate about care. And you know, when you come into a market like this, it's very crowded, and unfortunately the care is lost. That service, the level of service and personalization has been lost because people think it's so lucrative. Let's just make money. But my background, you know, I've been in medicine for 10 years. I've been a doctor for almost 10 years now. And for me, the most important thing and what differentiates a good doctor, a good clinic to any other is the level of care and service. And that's what we're here to do.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
And what made you get into skincare and becoming a skin and aesthetics doctor?
You know, the journey started 18 years ago because 18 years ago, so when I was 15, 16 years old, I had I had one choice to make, and I didn't really know which path to go down. I loved beauty, I loved makeup. I started my own makeup company at the age of 16. I was importing makeup. I was importing makeup from China, from Korea, and I was heavily into that, and skincare also. I don't know if you've heard of QVC. It's an online shopping channel, very famous in America and Europe. I was addicted to buying skincare and things, and I used to shop on QVC a lot. So essentially, I loved that, but then at the same time, I also am very passionate about making a difference to people's lives. And that's something that really, it gives me a lot of satisfaction because, you know, I love that feeling of being able to help people. So I really wanted to do medicine, and then I thought, how do I combine both? And 18 years ago, aesthetics really wasn't a huge thing, but skin definitely was. Helping people feel more confident about themselves was. And that's where my journey started, and that's how it started.
You're talking about your journey, you know, what really struck me about you is that you don't only talk about the benefits of skincare and the aesthetic practices that we use today, but you also talk about the hardships of starting a business in Dubai, being a woman. And what particularly struck a chord with me is that you speak your truth. And you always tell, you know, how easy it is to get carried away because Dubai can make you spend like how.
Yes.
But in spite of that, you hold your ground and you are just focused on moving forward. So tell me about that and tell me about starting a business in Dubai.
So, you know, in any business, what people are looking for is authenticity.
Yes.
They're looking for the truth. And they, you know, because let's face it, there's so many of the same businesses out there. There's lots of aesthetic clinics. So what does one look for? What does the patient look for? What am I looking for when I go to a doctor? It's the authenticity, the truth, and the trust. And this is something, you know, I've always had throughout my entire career. I've always been honest about what you need, what's going to help you, and what's a complete waste of money and a waste of time for you. And through that, you will see your business flourishes. There's too much overselling in this. There's too much overselling in this industry, and I really want to step away from that and just keep it to what do you need and what is going to be transformative for you in a good way. That's what I like to do, and that's what patients appreciate.
How safe Botox really is, and there is also a particular thread lifting technique where the threads sort of dissolve. Is that a safer alternative to Botox, or is that a better alternative to Botox?
Botox, very safe. It's been around since the 1960s. It was first discovered when people were getting side effects from another antipsychotic medication that was giving people spasms, so contractions of the muscle. Botox was developed to relax muscles, and that's what it does. It relaxes muscles, and as a result, it relaxes wrinkles and lines on the face. So that's how it works, and it's very, very safe. It just naturally wears off in up to 6 months, and you know, as long as you're in the right hands, it will be fine for you. And the other thing about the thread lifting, thread lifting is something you have to go to a professional for. You are inserting threads into your face. Now, when we talk about threads, they've been around since the time of Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Threads have been around for a long, long time, since ancient Egypt, when people were using pure gold threads to lift and just hoist up the skin and reduce the sagging in their face. So they've been around for a long time. Now, of course, everything has to be done in a very sterile way, in a very professional way, and we insert these kind of like a rod, where the thread is attached to the rod, inserted into the face. The thread has little tiny horns, and it allows the skin to just be stuck onto it and pulled up, and that's how you get the lifting effect. And that can be safe as long as you're using prophylactic antibiotics. So that means the doctor is giving you antibiotics for 3 days to reduce risk of infection, because the biggest risk with threads is infection.
Today people seem more educated, right, in terms of the skincare, because earlier it was just slapping on a moisturizer and probably applying some talcum powder back in the day and then getting out with your day. But today people are more educated in separating the ingredients of your skincare. For example, to suit your specific skin type, it could be a hyaluronic acid, it could be your vitamin C, your retinoids and all of that. Do you recommend using just a moisturizer, or do you actually recommend a proper, you know, intensive 7-step skincare routine, or what is your thought? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm totally against intensive skincare routines, totally against it. And I'm saying that when I have about 50 products on my website.
I know.
So, you know, but I'm against that. I never advocate that. I don't believe in 10-step skincare routines. I believe in a transformative skincare routine. I believe in preventative measures, and this is what you can do with a moisturizer, an SPF, a morning anti-pollution serum like vitamin C, something that you need in weather like this. When you live in a desert, you need that to neutralize free radicals that are in the air, in the pollution. So those 3 steps in the morning are a must. And then at night, you need something that's going to target your concerns. So are your concerns acne? You need your acne cream. Are your concerns fine lines, wrinkles, aging? You need that. Are they hyperpigmentation? You need those ingredients. And that's it.
What about IV drips and vitamins and glutathiones and all of that? Do you recommend that as, you know, a necessary practice? And if so, how often does one really need to get these IV drips?
So if you're talking about glutathione, right, glutathione is very safe, again, when it's done in the right hands. There was a little bit of controversy in Dubai because it's actually banned to give it IV now.
Oh, okay.
It's against the guidelines because there was a case where a patient was given way too much glutathione IV, and then that patient had serious complications as a result. So that you cannot do. But in the UK, I was giving glutathione all the time because it's fine. It's very safe in the right hands. It's very safe. And unfortunately, one event happened, and then of course, you know, you have to learn from that, and that's what Dubai did. So with glutathione, it's very commonly used for skin lightening, skin brightening, and even skin whitening, and these are interchangeable terms. And it's very popular in the South Asian and African community, and also it's, you know, increasingly common also in the Middle East as well. African community, I mean specifically Nigeria, and it's very common for skin lightening and whitening. if you're going to take glutathione for this purpose, then you need to make sure it's combined with vitamin C, because that helps.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next.
Makes it work better. It makes it work better. And then the other thing as well is that you need to have 1 weekly or 2 weekly IV drips, and you need 12.
Wow.
So that's usually the regimen if someone wants lighter, whiter skin. And if that's something you want, or your skin has been damaged because you've been living in the Middle East, or you've been living somewhere for a long time where you have now become much darker than you were 10 years ago, then if that's something you want, then you can achieve it with this.
Today, as we see, there are so many kids on TikTok, 14, 15-year-olds, all talking about how they have an extensive skincare routine, a vitamin C serum, hyaluronic acid, and all of that into their regime. But is that really advisable at that young age to include these steps into their skincare?
So the thing is, when you talk about skin conditions like acne, for example, dry skin, they're not age exclusive. So you have children 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you have them, they're suffering from dry skin, they're suffering from acne. They could even suffer from sun damage if they've been outside, things like this. So if that is the case, they have a skin concern, they have a skin condition, they should see a professional who can put together a skincare routine for them. If they are doing this without the proper supervision, without the proper knowledge, just looking at TikTok trends, then that can be very harmful. And one of the most common things now that I'm seeing all the time is perioral dermatitis. And perioral dermatitis is a direct result of using way too many actives on the skin that your skin doesn't need, and you've completely impaired the skin barrier and damaged it. So that's what we're seeing so much of. If you are young, you've got a skin condition, make sure you see a professional.
Absolutely. Now I'm just going to lay out few common skin types, and then you can probably help us with the right product combinations with your amazing expertise. For someone with dry skin, how can you round up certain products that are must or a necessity in their routine?
So the ingredients you need to look for are things like hyaluronic acid. You can get around a 2% all the way up to a 20%. At the doctor's dose, we can do personalized prescriptions, personalized ingredients. We can get you a 20% hyaluronic acid. And if you think about other brands like The Ordinary, L'Oreal, you're only looking at a 0.5 to 2%. And we can do 20.
So you're going to get... is okay.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So when it comes to hyaluronic acid, this is not harmful for the skin barrier. It's incredibly hydrating. So if you get the higher percentage, the purer form is going to be even more hydrating. Other things that you need to look for is panthenol. You can look at ceramides, peptides, centella, acetica, these things.
Someone with oily skin?
Oily skin, you want to just change the formulation. So you need to look at more gel-based, water-based products. And in particular, sunscreen. People with oily skin always have a problem with sunscreen. Go for clear gel-based. Go for water-based products.
What about somebody who has sensitive skin? Is there any sort of product that they should stay away from?
So you need to stay away from everything in a high percentage. You're looking for low percentages. You need to look at things like the hyaluronic acid, panthenol. You want to try things like arginine, aloe vera even. It's got a lot of science behind it. So those things are useful.
Let's talk about an easy skincare routine, because I have friends who are okay with using a shampoo to wash their face. They use a shampoo to wash their body. That's just one product, and their entire thing is done. And here we have 7 steps in our routine, and they just give us looks. So I have friends who do that. So what are some easy techniques for men to achieve great skin?
So, who really cares about men?
We say that while we're surrounded by them.
But I think, as a basic, men need to use a moisturizer every day, and especially in the UAE, I always bring it back to the UAE, because if you do not moisturize, you're going to end up like a dried prune very, very quickly. So you need to moisturize every day, and you need a very good SPF factor 50 at least every single day. And then, because everyone is aging, I would always say something to help you with the anti-aging and a little bit of exfoliation on the skin.
How often?
So that you can use maybe 3-4 times a week.
Right.
At night only. So your morning routine before going to work is just your moisturizer and your SPF.
How do you actually get rid of the dry skin and anything to do with avoiding dry skin and dry scalp?
Dry skin, dry scalp, you need to make sure you're hydrated, number one, fully hydrated. Number two, the dry skin, you need to make sure you're using things like peptides, ceramides, hyaluronic acid. Use paraffin at night, like Vaseline, so you can use that as like a night mask, a thick layer. We call it slugging. You can do slugging with that.
Or like wrap it on completely.
Yeah, so that helps. It's a very good occlusive. It's going to help the moisture in the skin. If you have a dry scalp, then you mostly have dandruff. And if you've got dandruff, then I would recommend ketoconazole shampoo.
So we spoke about this earlier, and somebody has also asked me about the Middle East summer sun protection.
Oh my goodness.
I know you can talk extensively on this topic.
Yes. It's just like, I've never been here in the summer, and people are like, you're not going to be here in the summer. You're going to want to take the first flight home.
From the UK, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, number one, factor 50. It has to be factor 50, UVA, UVB protection, and something that, you know, a lot of people don't like the white cast in sunscreens, but these sunscreens are usually a little bit more protective because they give you a physical barrier. They usually have something called titanium oxide in them. So they can be more protective in the summer sun. And just use it every 2 to 4 hourly. Avoid the sun as much as possible. Try and stay indoors if you can, or go out in the evening when there's no sun. Use hats, keep covered, that kind of thing.
Right. How can you actually avoid the darkening on the neck area?
Darkening on the neck area, the number one reason for darkening on the neck is because of insulin resistance. It's called acanthosis nigricans, and it's a type of hyperpigmentation from insulin resistance. So if this person has that, they first of all need to go to their family medicine doctor, get some bloods done to check for diabetes. And then if it's just hyperpigmentation, you treat it the same way as the face.
Reason for excessive sweating, and how can we really talk about it? Someone has asked me that. I know we were giving looks because one of we were joined by Dr. Hasia's friends, and we were just discussing that topic. So how can we handle excessive sweating or hyperhidrosis?
Botox. Botox is the best way. It's the most effective way, and we can do that for you here at Vawati Clinic. Essentially, we apply numbing cream to the hands, and if you have sweaty hands, and then if you have also sweaty feet, we can do Botox to the hands and to the feet. So apply a very thick layer of numbing cream, because this can be quite a sensitive area, because we have pain receptors. We have more pain receptors in the hands because it's like an evolution safety mechanism, that if we come close to anything that's going to harm us, we have more sensitive pain receptors here. So for that reason, we put a good amount of numbing cream, leave it on for around 30 minutes, and then we do these very superficial tiny injections on the hands.
That solves the problem.
Solves the problem.
Great. What about what about hair fall in Dubai, which is another primary concern people face?
It's one of the biggest things, right?
Yeah.
So
How
you
can
come
we avoid
here
that?
and you're sweeping up hair from everywhere, like it's falling out so much.
Same story ever in every household in Dubai. You can't really do much.
Sometimes I wonder how I still have hair on my head, because I'm sweeping it up, vacuuming it up all the time. But it's because of the water. The water is harsh. It's got a high mineral content, a high salt content, and for that reason it just, damages the follicles. But the way to basically improve it, use a water filter and use the Doctor's Dose Hair and Scalp Elixir, which is
I love how she has a product for every concern here.
I told you I have around 50 products. But we, you use the Hair and Scalp Elixir, which is a blend of 12 oils which have studies behind them, and then you use this on the bodies and the ends of the hair. For the roots and the scalp, you're going to have to use the prescription hair loss serum, which contains minoxidil and melatonin. For men also, it contains finasteride. But we do an 8% minoxidil and we do melatonin. This combination is unbeatable, or almost unheard of here, because melatonin is something that's been used for decades by Kashmir farmers on the Kashmir sheep to grow very thick yields of Kashmir wool, very thick and very quickly. So that's been used for that, and it's got no side effects. And then minoxidil, everyone knows minoxidil is something that's very useful. It's got the most research and science behind it. So that's very good as well. And together it's a very powerful combination.
Great. And the last concern that we're going to ask you about is very common, and it's dark circles. How can we really avoid that? Or what can we do to cure people, you know, like heavy dark circled area or heavy dark circles under your eyes?
One of the new treatments that we have at the clinic for this is the polynucleotide treatment. It's using salmon DNA. We extract the salmon DNA and we use that to help repair, regenerate, rejuvenate the whole eye area. So it's going to lighten, brighten, thicken the skin here and reduce the fine lines as well. So it's by far the best treatment that you can have.
In terms
here.
of products, what kind of products?
So products, I would say again, hydroquinone, vitamin C, alpha-arbutin, things with licorice root, things that are tretinoin based, but very, very, very tiny drop of tretinoin. Do not be putting normal strength of tretinoin under the eye area. It's just going to damage. And that's why prescription ingredients like tretinoin have to be monitored by a doctor.
Perfect, Hasia. You've been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much.
Honestly, I've enjoyed this interview, and I'm sure
thank you.
You know, we look forward to seeing you
Thank
again.
you.
And do you have any final words to say to our audience before we leave?
I'd just like to say, you know, take care of your skin. Do use SPF, and if you're in need of a professional skin doctor, you have any concerns regarding skin or aesthetics, please visit vawati.com to book an appointment with me, or go to doctorsdose.co.uk and you can just, you know, shop our skincare online.
Perfect, that's great. And thank you so much. Thanks everyone for tuning
Thank
in to
you.
True Stories with us.